Okay, get this. Imagine a world where, like, your new favorite song from, let's say, Biljit Dosanjh. Well, it's not actually sung by him, but by AI.
Whoa!
Kind of freaky, right?
Yeah.
But also totally possible. That's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
The mind-blowing world of AI music,
Mm-hmm.
and specifically this project using a language you might not even know, Hinglish.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty ambitious.
Yeah, sounds like it.
We've got two really interesting papers here.
Okay.
One that outlines like the whole plan for this project, and another one that's about a contest
Mm-hmm.
where they were trying to figure out if you could detect AI-generated singing.
Oh, wow.
But before we get into all that, I think we need to break down what Hinglish even is.
Yeah, definitely. It's way more than just like broken English.
Yeah.
It's this like super cool mix of Hindi and English, you know?
Yeah.
It really reflects the unique cultural mix of South Asia, and millions of people speak it every day.
And that's a big reason why the researchers chose it for this project.
Interesting.
But here's the thing. Hinglish doesn't have like an official dictionary
Right.
or like grammar rule book.
Yeah. It's constantly evolving, too.
Exactly. So how do you teach a computer a language?
Right.
That's making up the rules as it goes.
Yeah.
That's what these researchers are up against.
Yeah. It's a huge challenge for AI to learn.
Absolutely. So, okay, how are they planning to, like, make this happen? Teach AI to write Hinglish songs?
Well, their plan's got three main parts.
Okay.
First, they want to train the AI on tons of Hinglish text
Uh-huh.
to learn the language.
Yeah.
The problem is there aren't a lot of Hinglish books out there.
Right. So where are they getting the Hinglish text from?
Social media.
Ah.
They're pulling from places like Twitter and Facebook, where people are using Hinglish, naturally in conversation.
Oh, that's actually pretty clever.
Yeah.
So they feed all this data to the AI, and then what? Does it just magically start writing songs?
Well, not magically, but the AI starts to pick up patterns in how the words and phrases are used together.
Okay.
And then the researchers can give it a specific intent,
Okay.
like write a love song
Mm-hmm.
or write a protest anthem.
Right.
And the AI uses what it's learned to generate lyrics that fit that mood.
Okay. So now we've got like AI-generated Hinglish lyrics.
Right.
What about the music itself?
Yeah.
How do you compose a melody for a language that's so fluid and doesn't really have like a ton of set rules?
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting
Okay.
and a bit tricky.
Uh-huh.
They're actually debating whether to train the AI on sheet music,
Okay.
which is, very structured,
Right.
or on actual audio recordings of Hinglish songs.
Why not both? Couldn't the AI learn from both at the same time?
It could, but, each method has pros and cons.
Yeah.
Sheet music's very precise,
Right.
but it might not capture the nuances of how people actually sing in Hinglish.
Yeah. And audio recordings, well, they would capture those nuances, but they might be harder for the AI to actually analyze.
Exactly.
Hey.
Yeah, it's like trying to learn a recipe by just tasting the final dish.
Right.
Without having the written instructions.
Yeah.
Plus, they have to figure out how to make sure the melody, not only fits the Hinglish words, but also captures the right emotion.
It sounds like they're really trying to like capture the soul of the language, not just the
Yeah.
words and notes themselves. This is getting pretty deep.
It definitely is complex.
Yeah.
And this leads to the third part of their plan, which is validation.
Right, because how do they know if what the AI creates actually sounds like a good Hinglish song?
Well, they're planning to have humans judge the AI's creations.
yes.
Both music students and everyday listeners.
What good is an AI song if people don't actually want to listen to it?
Exactly. But this brings up another interesting question.
Okay.
Can AI-generated music even fool people into thinking it's human-made?
And that's where our second research paper comes in, right?
Yeah.
The Singing Voice Deepfake Detection Challenge,
The SVDD.
or SVDD, they were basically trying to see if AI can catch other AI, right?
Yeah, you got it. Think of it like an AI arms race.
Oh, okay.
So the researchers created two data sets of singing.
Okay.
One was made up of clean vocals, like
Yep.
like from a studio recording.
Mm.
The other was made up of songs taken straight from the internet,
Oh, okay.
which is, more like what you'd hear in the real world.
So kind of like a lab setting versus like the Wild West of the internet.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
So they then had teams build their own AIs
Okay.
that were specifically designed to try and detect the AI-generated singing,
Mm-hmm.
the deep fakes.
Okay.
And the results were pretty fascinating.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Some of the AIs did amazingly well.
Really?
Like less than a 2% error rate, they could spot the fake almost every time. But others really struggled,
Oh.
especially with those songs pulled from the internet. Turns out that that messy real-world audio is still really hard for AI to understand.
So some AIs are already great at this, but others still have a ways to go. So what does all this mean for music listeners like us?
That's where things get really thought-provoking, and that's what we'll explore when we come back.
We were just talking about how some AIs are getting really good at creating realistic singing, but others are still struggling, especially with music found, out in the wild of the internet.
Right.
It makes you wonder, what does this whole AI music thing mean for the future of young musicians?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Are we all going to be replaced by, robot singers?
Right.
I think the answer's a lot more nuanced than that.
Okay.
Instead of replacing human musicians, I think AI actually has the potential to be a really powerful tool
Okay.
to help them be even more creative.
What do you mean by that? How can AI actually help musicians?
Well, imagine you're, a songwriter and you've hit a wall.
Yeah.
You have writer's block. AI could, help you come up with new melodies.
Oh.
Or lyrical ideas that you might not have thought of on your own.
Right.
It's like having a brainstorming partner who's always full of ideas.
Oh, so it's like having a built-in muse.
Exactly.
Yeah, to help you get unstuck.
Or think about the production side of music.
Mm-hmm.
AI could help artists experiment with different sounds and arrangements,
Right.
making the whole production process way more efficient.
That makes sense. But there are still, some people out there who say that AI music is, it's missing something important.
Yeah.
That it lacks heart and soul, that real human emotion
Yeah.
that you get from a human musician. What do you think about that?
I think it's a valid point for sure.
Right.
But remember, even human-created music, it relies on patterns and structure.
Mm-hmm.
Music theory itself is a system of rules.
Yeah.
So in a way, AI is just learning and applying those rules, but on a much larger scale and at a much faster pace than a human could.
Oh, so you're saying that AI music is really just a different form of expression, not necessarily a lesser one?
Right. It's kind of like comparing a painting to a photograph.
Okay.
Both are forms of art. They both can, make you feel things.
Yeah.
But they do it in different ways.
Yeah.
AI music might not come from, lived human experience.
Right.
But it can still create something beautiful and meaningful.
I like that perspective.
Yeah.
It's about seeing AI as a new tool in the musician's toolbox.
Yeah.
Not a replacement for the musician themselves.
And let's not forget, the music industry has always been about embracing new technologies.
That's true.
Think about the invention of the phonograph.
Right.
Or the rise of, digital streaming. Each new development disrupted things, but it also created new opportunities.
That's true. And the artists who are able to adapt and use those new tools to their advantage are the ones who thrive.
Exactly. And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, I think the real challenge isn't about stopping AI.
Right.
But about, learning how to use it in a responsible way.
Those are some big questions.
Right.
And it's not just about the music industry, is it? It's about how we interact with the technology in general.
Absolutely. And there are no easy answers. But, the first step is having these conversations, raising awareness, really thinking about the impact AI can have.
Well said. So we've talked a lot about the creative side of AI music and the ethical questions it raises. But let's get back to that Hinglish project for a minute.
Sure.
It's important to remember that the researchers chose Hinglish for a reason. It wasn't just about pushing the boundaries of what AI can do. It was also about creating something that's culturally relevant and impactful.
Yeah.
They want to create music that resonates with a very specific community.
Right.
So it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about using that technology to connect with people on a deeper level.
Yes.
Yeah. They're hoping that these AI-generated Hinglish songs can be used to educate, inspire, and even create social change.
That's a really ambitious goal.
And in the end, it always comes back to us humans, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We're the ones who decide what music we listen to, what moves us, what inspires us. AI might be able to, create the nights.
Yeah.
But it's humans who give them meaning.
That's a great way to put it. It's like the difference between a computer program that can string words together.
Right.
And a poet who can use those words to touch your heart.
Speaking of touching hearts, what really struck me about all this research was this idea that AI could be used to make music that's personalized just for you.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Right.
Imagine an AI that could, create a soundtrack for your life.
Mm-hmm.
Something, tailored specifically to your tastes, your moods.
Yeah.
Even what you're doing at that moment.
It's like having your own personal composer.
Yeah.
You could have a totally unique soundtrack for every part of your day.
It would revolutionize, how we experience music. And it's not as far-fetched as it sounds.
Right.
I mean, we already have, personalized music recommendations
right.
on streaming platforms, and AI is a big part of that.
Yeah.
So it's not a stretch to think that AI could eventually compose entire songs just for you.
But wouldn't that mean everyone would end up living in their own little musical bubbles?
Right.
What would happen to that shared experience of music? Those songs that we all know and love together.
That's a really important point, and something we need to think carefully about. How do we balance that desire for a personalized experience,
right,
with the importance of shared musical moments?
Yeah.
How do we avoid creating musical echo chambers where people are only exposed to what they already like?
I guess that's where human DJs and music critics still come in.
Yeah.
We need people who can, introduce us to new music, new artists.
Yeah.
Help us expand our musical horizon.
I agree. It's about finding the right balance between the human touch and the power of AI.
So you've just gotten a crash course in the world of AI music, and especially this project using the unique language of Hinglish.
Yeah.
What are your main takeaways?
For me, it's the potential for positive impact. The idea that AI could be used to create music that educates, empowers, and brings about social change is really inspiring.
Yeah.
And I love that they're doing it with a language like English, which is often overlooked.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that technology can be a force for good.
But we also need to be aware of the potential downsides.
Right.
And make sure we're using AI responsibly.
It's not just about the cool tech. It's about how we use it.
Right.
And the impact it has on our lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which brings us to something we haven't touched on yet.
Okay.
The role of the listener.
Oh, that's a great point. We've talked about, artists and AI, but what about the people who are listening to all of this?
Right. As listeners, we have a responsibility to be informed and to think critically about the music we're consuming. We need to be aware that AI is playing a bigger and bigger role in music creation.
Right.
And to be mindful of, where our music is coming from.
It's like being a responsible consumer in any industry.
Yeah.
We need to be aware of what we're supporting.
Right.
And demand transparency.
And most importantly, we need to stay curious.
Yeah.
And open-minded. AI music is still a young field. Who knows what the future holds? It's going to be an incredible journey.
I can't wait to see what happens. This has been an awesome deep dive into AI-generated Hinglish music. We'll be right back with some final thoughts to leave you pondering.
Welcome back to our deep dive into AI music.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
From the technical details of how AI is learning to write songs, in Hinglish, to those big questions about the future of music. And the role of AI in society.
It's really fascinating to think about where this technology could go.
Right.
And how it could change the way we create and experience music.
Before the break, we were talking about that idea of AI creating personalized music.
Yeah.
Almost like having a custom soundtrack for your life.
Right. What if we take that even further?
What if the AI could not only create music based on your taste, but actually adjust and change the music in real time, responding to your emotions as you listen.
Wow. That's next level stuff.
Yeah.
The music would basically become a living thing,
Yeah.
changing and evolving right along with you.
Imagine listening to a song that subtly changes melody, harmony, even rhythm to match your heartbeat, your breathing.
Oh, wow.
It would create this incredibly immersive and personal experience.
It's a mind-blowing idea, but it also makes you think who's really in control of the music at that point? Is it you? or the AI?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll need to consider as AI gets more advanced.
That's right.
It's about finding the right balance between, human intention
Yeah.
and the intelligence of the machine.
Maybe it's like a dance between two partners, each bringing their own strengths to the table to create something new.
Exactly. And like any good dance, it requires trust, communication,
Yeah.
and a willingness to let go and see where things lead.
That's a beautiful way to put it. So as we wrap up our deep dive, here's like the key takeaway. AI-generated music, it's not just a passing fad.
No.
It's here to stay. It's already impacting the music industry, and it's only going to get bigger. But the future of music, it's not a simple either choice.
Right.
Between humans and machines.
Yeah, it's about finding ways for humans and AI to work together.
Right.
To, complement each other's strengths.
Yeah.
And to push the boundaries of creativity in ways we can't even imagine yet.
And that's the beauty of a deep dive like this, right?
Right.
It's not just about learning new facts. It's about opening our minds to new possibilities and sparking our imaginations.
So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep listening. The future of music is going to be an incredible journey.
And on that note, we'll say goodbye. Until next time, stay curious.